My next patron question has me yet again comparing two movies of dubious quality, and boy are we in infamous bad movie territory here. Lance indeed asked me to compare the Oogieloves in The Big Balloon Adventure and the Garbage Pail Kids movie. So which is better? That's a question for the ages, but I'm going to say the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Now, don't mistake this for an endorsement of the movie, because it's terrible with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Could a good movie have been fabricated out of those farcical trading cards? Possibly. I actually think the cards show a lot of creativity, as disgusting as they are. But those are drawn, and this is a live-action movie. And it's horrifying. The chief problem with the Garbage Pail Kids movie definitely falls with the titular characters. I understand they're supposed to be repulsive, but the movie also wants us to sympathize and root for them. However, they are irritating little pests with nothing to make us endear to them. There's one point where the alligator actually bites a bar patron's toes, which is then forgiven a few minutes later and never mentioned again. This doesn't get him arrested. Why? Throughout the film, an antique shop owner called Captain Manzini tries to trap them back in their garbage pail, and the movie wants us to be against that. There's also this place called the State Home for the Ugly that characters just casually mention like it's a normal part of everyday life. I feel like this should be a bigger news story. They even have Santa Claus in there for some reason. The acting leaves a lot to be desired, with Mackenzie Astin being mostly whiny as the main character Dodger. And let's talk about the villains for a second. The antagonists consist of this group of bullies in their late 20s who keep messing with Dodger and stealing his lunch money. Why do they have this strange grudge against this 12-year-old? It's never explained. I feel like the phrase, pick on someone your own size, was created just to describe these bullies. The Garbage Pail Kids movie is just nauseating and unpleasant, and it's meant to be a family film, but I don't think it's appropriate for families. I tried to think of something nice, but it's sad when not even the presence of Jim Cummings' voice could make me smile. So, since I have nothing to compliment the Garbage Pail Kids movie on, why is it better than the Oogieloves? Well, for one thing, I was able to watch Garbage Pail Kids in one sitting. It took me 3 days to finish the Oogieloves. If I ever make a list of the top 5 worst movies I've ever sat through, the Oogieloves and the Big Balloon Adventure would unquestionably be on there. The Oogieloves gets off to an irritating start right off the bat, with its title characters who are both horrifying to look at and incredibly annoying. The whole idea of the film was to be an interactive experience for children, which is a noble idea with some potential for success. But the movie mostly just wants children to get up and dance and talk to the screen. There's no actual thought required from the audience because the film just throws noise and colors up on the screen. Even Barney the dinosaur had a little bit of educational value. That's right, the Oogieloves has driven me to the point where I'm complimenting Barney for doing something right. The film is incredibly repetitive, as it all rests on the Oogieloves trying to retrieve 5 balloons, and we get the same situation repeated over and over again. Their vacuum cleaner, a Hoover model named J. Edgar, asks where the next balloon is, and the Oogieloves go there. They meet a celebrity guest embarrassing themselves, they sing a terrible song, they get the balloon, the Oogieloves do a little celebratory dance, rinse and repeat. Oh, and there's also a running joke where one of the Oogieloves' trousers keeps falling down because comedy. The film itself is a visual eyesore, and while the Oogieloves are no treat to look at, they are not even the scariest characters in this movie. The film constantly cuts to their talking window called Windy Window, who I'm sure entered a few children's nightmares. And then you have Carrie Elways, who I can't tell whether he's not taking it seriously enough, or if he's taking it too seriously.
Do you like bubbles?
Yeah!
Well, gosh, are you in the right place?
I would make a reference to Saw at this point, but that would be an insult to Saw. To understand this monstrosity is to understand the man who produced it, Ken Wiseman, who thought modern family films had too many things like conflict and character development. Seriously, in interviews promoting the Oogieloves, he would go out of his way to insult Pixar for actually daring to give their films things like drama and themes. Well, mission accomplished, because you made a movie with none of that. The Oogieloves is a movie with nothing that will enrich or grow a child in any significant way. But I want to end on a positive note, so I will say this. It's not easy to get a movie made, let alone a preschool movie, which they don't really make anymore. So that Wiseman had this idea he was passionate about and was able to get funding, distribution, and a major release on over 2,000 screens is an accomplishment. It's a shame it ended up being one of the worst movies ever made, but you win some, you lose some.